about a surveillance state that is beyond. If we were to separate the UFO interaction from the mind control element of it, what you could say is that there is a possibility that it's the product of exotic technology. I'm of the opinion it is not. But what you can say is that there is an element of the state beyond the things that Edward Snowden talked about. And when Edward Snowden passed his secrets to Russia, Russia have not got a halo around their head. Russia, that was of high level intelligence value what he was passing to them. But what happens is that there is this thing where your emails are monitored. I've got a camera in this laptop. Now, am I being paranoid? I have to assume that the camera's switched on and I'm being watched now. No, I might not be. I might be being paranoid. You just don't know. But the phone calls and the intercepts of emails and the intercepts of this radio broadcast by computers is present. We know this. It's been in the news. What isn't in the news is the next level beyond the surveillance state, which is the tapping of the human mind by mind-invasive technology, where the PR spin of that, Charles, is to dumb down the benefits and dumb down the experimentation while all the time ruthlessly doing the classified projects involved with it. And that's what happened to me. If you can imagine, these lunatics, Charles, were using technology, and I kid you not, they were using technology. It's hilarious, and it laugh with me. No, you've got to do, mate. Yeah, you've got to do, kid, because it's hilarious. Because when even more unbelievable is when you tell people that they were waking me up, probably spanning over 2 to 3 years, waking me up at 5:45 in the morning with an alarm clock ringing in my head, on the hour, every hour, waking me up with this technology. The thing is, if you've got schizophrenia, you wouldn't even know that you were being woken up on the hour. It was always on the hour. It was, and the thing is that I'm coherent with what I'm saying to you. It's not all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's quite. This technology is quite cheap to deploy. This mind-invasive technology. It started with MK Ultra in the 1950s, where the psychiatrists were experimenting on mentally ill individuals with mind control, and it's developed into this monstrous, unaccountable machinery that even Eisenhower, I interviewed Eisenhower's great-granddaughter for my radio show, yeah? In fact, I'd recommend her as a guest, Charles. She's amazing.
Okay.
And she's absolutely fascinating. She was telling me that her great-granddad possibly had 3 to 2 heart attacks. I didn't know this. He was on the operating theatre because of the sheer stress of knowing that this nefarious complex, the military-industrial complex, was out there growing like some monstrosity, and it's hidden from the world stage, this surveillance state of, and they'll deny it because the policy is to deny, and label the messenger as the lunatic. Yeah, exactly. You're the loon. You're the frigging loon. You're going to end up on the psychiatric ward. You're the loon. It's easier to experiment on the mentally ill than it is on the people who are sane with this technology, and that's what they did. And the American psychologists who were behind this technology back in the 1950s even engineered the manual of mental health, DSV, I think it's called. They even manipulated it so that what I'm talking about is clearly a product of mental illness. And this is how it flows. This is how the cover-up works. And it's pretty nasty when you've got somebody on the end of a telephone telling you to shut up. It's pretty nasty when you've got somebody in a pub. Yeah, when you've got somebody in a pub. I mean, this frigging idiot who's had me under surveillance, I'd call him a Dr. Strangelove, because if you were to apply this guy, right, this guy, I'll call him Gerald, because he looks like the guy from the film Smoking Aces. He's called Gerald Acosta in this film Smoking Aces, I think, and he looks like him. He absolutely is the degradation. Anyway, this clown followed me into a pub in 2001, and he orders a drink with his friend. And what is bizarre, and it even sounds bizarre me saying this, but it actually happened. This is actually what happened. They've been deploying this technology, and as I walked past him, Charles, he mentioned something that only I would know relating to what was going on. And he mentioned what he was doing. And he was quite apt about it. He was quite upfront about it. And the mind doesn't register. The mind doesn't twig what he'd actually said. But he was a very real Dr. Strangelove character who developed a contraption. I've got images of this great big Frankenstein-style machine in a facility somewhere that's involved in mind invasive technology that is developed that runs by bloody steam. And you know, and so you've got the image. I've got this image of it in my head. Anyway, this frigging clown. It's like something out of Monty Python of how not to be seen, because he was up to something, and he wanted me to somehow engage in conversation with him, but that didn't happen, and he stormed out the pub with his compatriot who looked in a mirror at me, Charles. Literally was looking in it. There's a mirror in the pub, and said, "Why isn't Anthony not talking to us?" And he says, "I don't know, come on, let's go." And he went out the door. And then there's 1,001 odd things that happened, including somebody else having me under surveillance with a foreign accent in a pub somewhere, saying, "See you later, Anthony," in a foreign accent. How farcical it is. It's so comical, but yet it's so deadly bloody serious what they were doing, and has ethical implications, has very serious implications. You just couldn't write it, Charles. No. You couldn't write it. And as a result of that, as a result of all these experiences of the UFOs, the unmarked helicopters, the media got interested in me. And my first appearance was for Channel 4 in, I think, 2007. And I've never looked back from there. I've always been contributing. I've always been lucky to have the mainstream media be good to me, apart from the BBC, who I had a particular nasty going on with. Regarding a documentary that I appeared in. On reflection, I don't think it should ever have been done, but that's another story, you know. Right, yeah. So that's really in a nutshell, in a very simplified, hilarious way, although it isn't funny, what's happening.
Okay. Well, what song do you want on now?
Well, yes, there you go. Yeah. I think it really. If you look at my website, you'll see the sheer seriousness and of what I'm saying, and that's and I suffered from some very severe depression. I've been traumatized and possibly scarred by what they've done, and I think it's very apt that there's a song where sometimes on occasions when it's been quite turbulent, I got a responsible job, Charles, and I walked away from it, really. I mean, I had a very responsible job for 12 years, and I just kind of walked away from that. And I sometimes retreat into myself and just plod around, on the computer. And I thought that one of the things that highlights the depression of it all was Kate Bush's Deeper Understanding. Deeper Understanding with the incredible Bulgarian folk choir called the Trio Bulgarka. And you'll hear them on the track. They're incredible. So that's my song.
Kate Bush. Marvellous. Let's go for it. Wow, that was a marvellous track. Thanks for sharing that. Now, in between, whilst the song was playing, we were just chatting. We're not talking MI5 and MI6, are we? Here, we're talking something.
I have an idea who they are.
But it's not the people that keep us safe.
No. I mean, let us be right about this. You will get a situation where you will have people, a percentage of people who have mind issues, but there are a percentage of people that are targeted individuals. But to say, for example, that David Cameron is sat in his office and speaking to me through his television at me and directing me to do things is frankly just not on, really, because that's not what's happening. This is about covert interest groups under a security apparatus that Eisenhower stated was the military-industrial complex. It is plausible, deniable, fully, and they have the infrastructure in place to cover their tracks. To say, for example, that, there again, though, Charles, on saying that, it would be hypocritical not to comment that MI6 and MI5, especially MI6, were involved in mind control liaison with the Canadian government to develop mind control programs under MK Ultra, to develop assassins under mind control, and there was an involvement there. But I still would like to differentiate between, the fact that you do have individuals out there who are on the salary of about 28k, salary of a teacher, the salary of a vicar, who are doing vital national security work to prevent your children, for example, being put into an horrendous situation by, let us say, the radicalisation process, etc., etc. Yeah. And I had to study espionage. I mean, I really, really had to study it and look at it. And there has to be a clear differentiation between the people who are doing this vital work to keep the country safe, and there are issues there. There are very real security matters going on, and between what I'm saying, because I think the people that I talk about who targeted me give these people in our security services a bad press and a bad name. Their actions of unaccountability, their actions of unethical behaviour reflect badly on the people, and it's pressure. I mean, if for example MI5 have a section called A4, who are surveillance unit, that they watch people, they are the watchers. It's probably one of the most stressful, high pressure jobs in the intelligence world, I would think, doing that kind of thing. The pressure and stress they are under to make Britain safe, and you probably wouldn't know the kind of the stuff that they've done to prevent acts of terrorism, let us say on the London Underground, all that kind of thing. We have to differentiate very carefully between the two, and I have to draw the line on it, because it would be wrong of me, Charles, to say, well, they're targeting me, the intelligence people, that doesn't quite work like that in real life.
No.
It does not. No.
I'll tell you a quick funny story. Well, it's not funny at all. I was on the tube the day it was blown up.
Crikey.
I was with somebody who we spoke about whilst the song was playing.
Yeah.
And I was down, and the train that got struck was there.
God.
And I looked over at the Daily Express, and I decided I wanted to read the Daily Express and wait for the next train.
Good God, Charles.
So if I hadn't looked at the Daily Express, I would have been in the train on that carriage.
Good God, Charles.
Yeah. So.
Good God. And it was
just a last second thought. I can't even remember the headline. And what it was most amazing. I know, and most people that lived in London know that you are constantly stopping in your tube train and being told that there's a delay.
Yes.
So we were there.
Yes.
And there was a delay, and it was quite a long delay. And then it came on the tannoy, ladies and gentlemen, this train will be delayed indefinitely.
Wow. And that's all they said.
That's all they said. And that word indefinitely, everybody on the train suddenly stopped talking and moaning. We all looked at each other, and we got up calmly, and we filed up those steps as quick as we possibly could. And we knew nothing about what went on. No. I walked from where I was to Waterloo. And when I got to Waterloo, they were saying to me, they were saying that it was shut indefinitely, the tube. Of course it was. I got onto an over thing and went to Clapham Junction where I was living at the time. And my mobile phone wasn't working. So I thought that maybe my direct debit had bounced or something. I was just thinking something basic. But when I got in, the landline went, and it was my mum going, "Oh, are you okay? London's being bombed." I go, "What are you talking about?" And when she described it to me, it was the train that I just missed.
Yeah.
Which I chose to miss. Yeah,
which you chose. So you were fated, Charles, weren't you?
I was fated by the Daily Express.
You were, weren't you? Thank God you're still here, Macy.
Yeah, well, I just say, people run the Daily Express down. I used to go drinking with the Daily Express editors when I was working at the Players under the Archers. But yeah, I am in debt to the Daily Express.